On the other hand, I can't think of anything more vile than what you tried to do to that man. People say Michigan versus Jennifer Lynn Plumhoff. Ms. Plumhoff is here for sentencing. Prosecution and defense. Was the pre-sentence investigation report made available to you?
It was, Judge.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Shepard, have you had the opportunity to read the report and discuss it with Ms. Plumhoff?
I have, as co-counsel, Mr. Swanson, we did meet with Ms. Plumhoff, and I did speak with her a couple of different times about it. We have no additions or corrections that I'm aware of, Judge.
All right. Is there anything that you want the court to consider?
Yeah, so I've read the recommendation. I think the recommendation is spot on, Judge. I think that it's considerate not only of the circumstances which led to this, but also of the person who is the byproduct of where we're at today. And talking to Jen, you know, I think I would appreciate the court looking at the person who made that decision in that moment. I think that's important. I think you always have to do that. But I also think it's important in this case to think of and consider the person who sits before you today. In that regard, I asked her, I said, you know, if you could do this over, you know, sometimes this is a dangerous question, but if you could do this over, would you do the same thing? And she says, well, I don't want to say that because it doesn't seem like I'm, you know, sorry about what I did. But at the same time, I probably wouldn't have done some of the things that I'm doing now. This recommendation, Judge, was littered with letters of support. I'm quite certain the court's had a chance to read and review those. I can tell you that in my dealings with Jen, I see a remorseful person. I see someone who has always taken responsibility from the sentencing forward. I think that that is indicative of this recommendation that is in this pre-sentence investigation report as well. When this happened, Judge, this is a time in Jennifer's life when she wasn't proud of the decision she made. I think people do and say lots of things that they wish they had back in a breakup situation. I know that she's embarrassed. I know that it's affected her. But from accepting this plea agreement and speaking to this court, and beyond that, her conduct since then, I think speaks volumes about who she is going to become as a result of putting herself in a really tough situation. I know that she's been working on her mental health. I think that is evident. I also know that she's been on bond, has not had any other incidents that I'm aware of while she's been on bond. It's been quite some time since we've been back here, several months, in fact, Judge. So I would ask the court to consider the letters of recommendation. I think, again, the recommendation is appropriate. I would ask the court to follow that. And part of it, too, Judge, is that there's a rather lengthy term of probation, which the court's going to impose. And that is yet another opportunity for Jen to not just tell you who she is, but prove who she's become and that she isn't the person that at least in this incident, she appeared to be on paper, Your Honor. So I would ask that the court follow the recommendation. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Plumhoff, have you had the opportunity to read the report and discuss it with Mr. Shepard?
I have, Your Honor.
Do you have any additions, corrections, or challenges?
I do not.
Anything that you want to say on your own behalf?
Well, I would like to start by apologizing to Nicholas for the hurt and disruption that I caused in his life. I'm not proud of getting to a point where I would hurt somebody that I loved the way that I did him, for breaking our vows and ruining our marriage. I hurt a lot of people that day, that when I chose to make the decision that I did, I hurt a lot of people. And I am truly embarrassed about that and very sorry. Like he said, I'm not proud of what I did. I am proud of the person that I've become because of these things. Being able to turn my life around and turn to faith and get back on the right track. I've worked really, really hard through my therapy, my group therapy, with my church family, just being able to help the community more, things like that. I don't think that these are things that I would have been doing hadn't something like this happen. As awful as it may sound to say, I feel like me hitting rock bottom is something that needed to happen to become who I am. And I'm truly sorry for all of it.
I think Mr. Swanson had a couple of comments too. If the court would like.
Right?
Thank you. I've talked to Ms. Plumhoff quite a bit as well. She has been acknowledging her actions. She owned her actions. Everything and every person I've talked to so far in reference to it, she owned it to this court as well. We would point out to the court that Ms. Plumhoff, with her consent, she's given me the permission to tell the court that she now faces some pretty significant medical conditions. That she's facing a treatment for potentially breast cancer at this point, and her next appointment is scheduled for October 28th, and she does have further follow-up care after that that's going to be required. So she's asking the court to consider that and looking at sentencing here today and consider not imposing a jail sentence given those circumstances, which are unusual of that recent diagnosis. We got the documentation from her doctor here today. The court wanted that documentation as well. She did receive a lot of amazing recommendations from the community, so we asked the court to consider that and looking at sentencing here today.
All right, Ms. Robinson, any additions, corrections, or challenges?
Your Honor, people had OV-19 scored at 10 points. I believe that the conduct here would amount to interfering or attempting to interfere with the administration of justice. My understanding the case law does support that conduct can happen before criminal charges are issued as well. It's not like it has to be a fight afterwards. That is the only difference that I saw that I thought needed to be noted for the record.
All right, Mr. Shepherd, Mr. Swanson, want to reply to that?
Sure, Judge. I tend to agree with the scoring that was done by the Department of Corrections. I see that OV-19 was a 0. I think that's, I wouldn't know why that would change, Your Honor. I certainly understand the question or the context around the question. But from my perspective, I think that the scoring that is appended to the PSI and the recommendation, I think that's a
All right, well, I look something up on that. I would turn to you, Mr. Zero. See the recommendation in the report. Is for 1 day jail, 1 day credit. Is that your recommendation or is that Lansing's recommendation?
My recommendation was consistent with the plea agreement, which was a cap at the midpoint of the guidelines, and I recommended 150 days jail.
All right, so the court is going to leave offense variable 19 scored at 0. I was looking at the criminal sentencing bench book, and although I do note that there are things that can happen pre-charge that could reflect the interference of justice. But I didn't find a case that reflected where essentially trying to frame someone for a crime would be impacting the ability of the police to investigate a situation. It's not tampering with witnesses. It's not the sort of pre-charge conduct court to see that other cases have scored 10 points at, so the court's going to deny that request.
Your Honor.
All right, so with that,
Your Honor, I apologize. Can I make a statement?
sorry.
Your Honor, we would ask that the court follow along with the plea agreement in this case and allow that plea to stand and sentencing to go forward today. Nicholas Plumhoff is the victim in this case. He is present in the courtroom today and he would like to make a statement.
Oh, good. Mr. Plumhoff, would you come forward, please?
Right up to the podium right there.
You're Nicholas Plumhoff, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, now's your opportunity, sir.
So it's been a long time. I've been trying to think what I wanted to say when we finally got to this point. And it's just so much more to me than just like trying to get me in trouble. Over the last 5 years, I have worked so hard to get out of the things that I was doing that put me in prison. And for, going back and spending weeks looking at all the messages that went back and forth and how malicious it was. I had one day and made one bad decision. She did this for weeks and weeks. I've read the messages. And for her to say the only thing he cares about is this job at the recovery center and I want to take it from him. I worked so hard to get away from my background, to have a job where I could help people and make a difference and not be another statistic and not end up back in prison or on the streets. And to just think that someone that said they loved me could just say, or even, I could see her saying it, but weeks and weeks of pushing it, messaging him, well, she was at my house, now's the time to do it. I know where his car's at now. Like, I don't understand. I know what it's like to need to get incarcerated. If I wouldn't have went to prison, I wouldn't be where I am. I wouldn't have taken the time to get the help that I needed, And I don't think one day in jail is ever going to stop her from doing this to someone else. If it wouldn't have happened the way it would, I might not be here right now. I might be back in prison. I might have ruined my career. I might have lost everything, and no one would have believed me. No one. If it wasn't for the one that turned in the messages and having them documented, no one would have ever known, and I would have been gone. And it's not fair. It's not right that to just try to take someone's life into your hands and throw it away because you had a bad day. I would understand if I treated her poorly, if I put my hands on her, if I was mean to the children, none of that effort. And to have someone just want to hurt me like that, I can't imagine being that broken of a soul to want to hurt someone that bad. What's the worst part is I don't hate her. I just want her to get help. For her, for the kids, for whoever she comes in contact in the future. Because the person who did that, she's not where she needs to be. One thing that I guess it probably doesn't matter because it wasn't reported, but just not even a month ago, she was at a restaurant and ran into my niece and threatened to beat her ass in the middle of the restaurant with her children there, in front of everybody. So whatever gains and progress that she's made, she's not where she needs to be yet. And I hope that you guys can help her do that.
So a couple questions for you, sir. How did you meet Ms. Plumhoff?
We met through my little sister. They were acquaintances.
Okay. I only have a little bit of the police report. How do you know how Ms. Plumhoff came in contact with the person that was incarcerated that you wanted to set you up? You know, she knew that individual?
the way it was explained to me is when me and her got together, she was in a relationship with that person. And when me and her made it official or whatever, she broke it off with him because he's in prison. What is he going to do? You know, all she has to do is not answer the phone. So that was her boyfriend, I guess, up until I had got with her.
Okay. Anything else that you want to say, sir?
I just want to thank the court for whatever it is they're going to do. And hopefully I'll have a peace of mind for a little while because obviously I'm a mess. Like, I literally moved 3 hours away to not have to worry about running into her at a store or anywhere, you know what I mean? Because of, I don't know. I worked in Nuevo for a little while in one of the recovery centers that was up here, and going through a drive-through, I had a girl let me know that she was still trying to mess with me and that this was my number and this is where I lived. And so I just don't want to have to worry anymore. I'm a grown man. I shouldn't be crying over what this woman could do to me.
Thank you, sir. All right, the court recognizes that the advisory guidelines in this case would suggest a sentence between 0 and 11 months. The courts can exercise my discretion and it's consistent with the advisory guidelines, consistent with the plea agreement in this case. It would be the sentence of the court that this defendant served 120 days in the Nuevo County Jail. I'll give her credit for the 1 day that she served so far. I'm going to place her on probation for 2 years. There is a $30 per month probation oversight fee for regular probation, $60 a month for electronic monitoring or tether. There is a $68 state cost assessment, $130 crime victims' rights fund fee, and a $60 DNA fee. Those financial assessments can be paid within 90 days of her release from jail. Ms. Plumhoff, on the one hand, I applaud you for the efforts that you've made. And maybe those efforts will continue after you're out of jail and through probation, and they'll help you change the person that you are. On the other hand, I can't think of anything more vile than what you try to do to that man. Number one, you know, he knew his history with addictions, and to try and use that against him. Number two, trying to prevent him from helping other people, trying to engage some other inmate to ruin this man's life. And he's right. If you had any idea how many people come in here with possession of drugs and say, they weren't mine, somebody planted on me, everybody, the police, the prosecutor, the court, we all go, yeah, right. People just don't plant drugs on other people. And that was your plan. As he indicated, it wasn't just a fly-by-night thing, you know, one time, call somebody up, oh no, I forget it. It was time after time, message after message. You actually paid the money, as I understand it, to have this done. I just can't, I mean, really words don't express how vile those acts are. And you try to separate the acts from the person, but you're the one that did those. And luckily, this person that you were corresponding with in the jail had integrity and did the right thing and turned you in. But for that, he probably would have been in jail. He probably would have been successful in framing it. And that's inexcusable. I don't care how much he hurts you. So,
Your Honor, if I might.
Yeah.
Given Mr. Swanson's comments regarding my client's medical future, and I suppose some of the highlights and some of the good things that you pointed out, and appreciate the court considering those, is it possible to structure some of this jail time weekends due to those circumstances also, this situation which she leaves at home? I say that to the court readily, preparing my client for the idea of incarceration. I don't think for a second that it wasn't something that crossed our mind or her mind, Mr. Swanson's mind. I just ask if there's a way to structure that so that it isn't a complete the water isn't completely cut off there. I think we could probably, I suppose, address both sides of what the court just said. Is there a way that the court could consider doing that so that these medical issues can be addressed, and obviously she would still pay the debt that you believe she owes to the society and this community?
Well, I don't want her to suffer medically. I haven't seen any paperwork that you've wanted. I'm not going to just do a flyby and look at it now. So she's going to jail. We'll take a look at whatever paperwork you want to submit. Talk with jail administration, see if there's a way to get her the testing or whatever it is that she needs, figure out how urgent those sort of things are, and we'll make a decision from there. But today, she's going to jail.
Thank you, Your Honor. I will make sure the court file reflects these and appreciate the court's consideration in that regard.